good morning, and good night. Thanks again for downloading the Body Snatchers podcast. If you like what you hear today, don't forget to subscribe and comment. So let's get started. Enjoy the show.
All right, guys, good morning, good night. Thank you for choosing the Body Snatchers podcast. Today, you're hanging out with me and Steven. We're super excited to be talking about the new My Hero Academia movie, Rising Heroes, Heroes Rising, heroes that do things that blow up.
Heroes Rising.
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic movie. We definitely had a really good time checking it out. I strongly encourage you guys to see this movie as soon as possible. Before we get into that, let me warn you guys, we are going to have a lot of spoilers. If you guys are new to the show, head over to bodysnatchersmedia.com. Subscribe to us on your podcast platform choosing. We've got Spotify, Podbean, Castbox, iTunes, and several more, but those are probably like the most popular. I think like Google Music or something.
Google Podcasts. That's what
Is that what they're calling it these days?
That's what the kids are using. I've been using it, and it's for Android phones. It's a dream.
I'm an Apple guy these days, so it's not me anymore, man.
I like it. We got people all over. I'm Android. You're iPhone. John's Cricket.
Wow. All right.
BlackBerry.
Yeah, I was gonna say John has the BlackBerry. He's got a Pearl. It's really good. Really good. Maybe he's got a Bold. That's like a world phone. Right?
He can only listen to podcasts after 9 and on the weekends.
I thought it was 7. Is it still 9?
I don't think they do it anymore, but I thought it used to be 9. They wouldn't start it at 7. That's prime time.
He would definitely get like a T-Mobile sidekick and be like, bro, check it out. It's so vintage. Oh, cool, John.
Getting his prepaid cards.
Oh, shit. Oh, man. And also, guys, we have a Patreon account. We're getting ready to launch all sorts of new prizes starting for March, since we are at the very end of February. So I'm really excited to talk about what those are going to be. Those prizes are only going to be distributed giveaways for patron members. So if you guys want to be a patron member and you want a chance to win a bunch of dope stuff, it's $1. Like that's the starting thing. That's all we ask. So check it out. It's on our website. Very easy to access. It helps us keep the lights on. Steven's been struggling. He's been trying to buy money or get money together for his grandmother's medicine. Right, Steven?
Right. I got a lot of other things to do, but getting medicine for her would be pretty nice too.
Okay, that's actually me. But he is trying to get his children through college, and all it takes for $1 a day or a month, $1 a month. His kids could be somebody. You don't want them to end up like Steven. They're going to be podcasting till they're 80.
Oh, no way. This is the worst job ever.
I hate it here. That's funny. That's funny as hell.
It is. And you want to be one of the first ones to sign up, because then you have a better chance of winning something cool. I mean, we're giving away some really good prizes. We got a lot of expensive stuff lined up, so you don't want to sleep.
We give away free stuff to the patron people now quarterly. There's stickers and merchandise, like little things. If you don't win, you're still going to get stuff in the meantime. So it's really just a win-win. And the best part is, if you have a friend who also listens to the podcast and they're not a patron member, you can look at them right in the eyes and tell them they're a piece of shit.
You're
better than them now.
Yeah, you guys sign up for the patron, we take care of you. It's a win-win. Everyone wins. Nobody loses.
Do it so you can be entitled.
There you go. Everyone wants to be entitled.
You ever see people who are verified on social media who aren't very popular yet? They've got 2,000 followers and they appeared on Empire or something once and they're verified.
Oh yeah. Same feeling?
Dude, nobody knows you yet. Oh, I'm verified. So yeah. Oh yeah, definitely the same feeling. Look at followers just for getting a little blue icon. That's basically the equivalent of the patron.
That blue icon is everything.
You won't get a blue icon, but in my heart and in our eyes, you'll always be blue.
There you go.
That sounded good, right?
You're celebrities to us.
Let's stop before we get yelled at. As I mentioned, we are 100% going to be hitting spoilers this whole time. It's more of a general discussion, and I'm okay with that. I'm perfectly fine. There's really no way to tackle it because I don't want to do this in a front to back linear fashion. We're just kind of jump around, talk about some things that we took notes on. I was waiting a very long time to see this movie. It's the reviews on it actually aren't going super well from what I've seen in this short amount of time, and that is kind of bananas to me. I'm like, oh, all right. Two Heroes, the first movie, was excellent, and I think that worst case scenario, this was on par with it. but in my opinion, it was better.
I thought it was better too. This is the first time I've ever seen somebody stand up out of their seat during a movie. Towards the end, I didn't tell you during, but I told you after. In the front, he just stood up.
Yeah.
He stood up and he was watching, and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool.
And it was a fair reaction. Yeah, man. I don't know. The reviews on it like haven't been super great. Like I'll say that the official like IMDb reviews, I think Two Heroes hit like a low 7 on the scale out of 10, and this one so far is like an even 8. So I mean they're giving it a little bit more on IMDb, but I've seen a bunch of other stuff where they're just going in, and we are here to be the countermeasure for that, because I don't think Steven doesn't feel that way. I don't feel that way.
No, we loved it. Now, I was going to ask you, because I read sort of the same thing. Of course, I'm going to blame the manga users that aren't satisfied with users.
We're good. We read, Steven.
Well, you guys are ruining everything. That's probably where these bad reviews are coming from. But I was going to ask you, why are they not happy with this? Because it sounds like they're not.
Who, the manga readers?
No, just people in general that thought this was simple, that thought there was no dialogue, there was no story, that thought the first 45 minutes was boring.
Yeah, I don't and didn't feel that way at all. I honestly don't have a very good guess, at least for the first half of the movie. I will say for the second half, like the climactic ending, before they kind of like revealed everything they were doing, the way it was unraveling, I'm like watching it, and for a little bit, it felt like it was going to get cliche kind of and be a little bit too much like the first movie. And then It was just so goddamn badass that like I was like, oh, I my mistake. So maybe that like irked some people. They didn't think it was so goddamn badass. Maybe like they were just like, no, this feels just like the ending to, Two Heroes. But I didn't feel that way at all. Like it felt like a good setup. Like they built me up where I was like, oh crap, I'm gonna be so disappointed. Like it'll be cool, but not that cool. And then they made it really cool. For manga readers, I thought
everything.
For manga readers, I thought they were gonna tap into like some source material that's like way ahead. So that part I don't want to reveal a spoiler on. That would just be petty on my part. But they didn't. So it was kind of like fresh, new, and exciting for anime watchers as well as manga readers. I was almost 100% certain that they were going to tap into some things that we've seen in the manga in regards to Midoriya. I really don't want to say more than that.
Right. Well, I could see how somebody who has a bad mood or, could say that it's corny, but,
fuck them.
Yeah, right. You're going to the movies and you're seeing an anime movie. It's supposed to be a little corny.
Yeah, honestly, it had me in my feelings multiple times. I mean, especially towards the end. I mean, there was at least like 2 moments where I was like, "Woo!" Like you know how you can kind of feel like, I don't want to say like sad, like in tears or like overly excited or anything, but like you just feel like your body go through a physical change. Like your heart rate's kind of increasing, your eyes are glued, nobody's whispering anymore. You're at that point where like, you can be interested in a movie and you kind of glance at your phone, but like that shit's out the window. You're not, your phone could be blowing up and you're not paying attention at all. You're like, me and you, we have a commitment right now. I want to see where this goes.
The final battle was, we're not going to talk about it yet, but the way they did it was just, it's not what you would expect in like, One Punch or Dragon Ball. Yeah, they did it completely different to where it was like, it was awesome. And for some reason, it felt sad just the way they did it, but at the same time, it was just OP anime fighting, and the visuals were amazing.
Oh man, when we come to it, don't let me forget. I hope I don't. I wanted to talk about like the music choices too. I guess I'll mention it now lightly just in case I forget. But the music choice, like usually, during like the most climactic scene, you've got like what feels like heavy guitar or a hip hop beat, like it's like a high energy song, and it was put together so beautifully because you felt the energy, but they chose a much softer, more relaxed type of song.
Yeah, it was a different approach than what you would be used to, what you would expect.
Yeah, and you know what the effect of that is it just added to like the severity of what was at stake, if that makes sense. It wasn't just like, here's high energy. Like it was just like,
it added weight to the situation of what just happened before they started fighting.
Right. So you're in your mind, you are watching this fight and you know that, people could die at any moment and you really don't know the outcome. And the music choice doesn't let you forget that. If it would have been high energy, you would have been looking at, punches and kicks and, power moves and all this stuff. And you were, but it was just really cool the way it like makes your brain work, the psychology behind it. I really enjoyed that. I didn't know if anybody on any other podcasts or whatever were going to bring that up, but I thought it was an excellent choice. So we'll come back to that. I kind of want to jump into like some of the intro stuff. I like, because Steven, you were there for the very beginning, right? You didn't miss any of it.
Yeah, I was there.
Okay,
Sitting
so
next to you.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I see through you, so it's okay. But
there you go.
They kind of send you off because they have all these heroes involved in the beginning, like and some of the well-known villains, like Davi's in there.
Uh-huh.
And they have like a little showdown, which I absolutely loved that they had him and Endeavor for a second go head to head. Technically, that's not the case. Like if you actually watch it, it was a little bit different. But yeah, him and Endeavor go head to head for a moment, and it just looks so cool because you can see how superior Endeavor is for a moment. There's not a lot of moments in the anime yet that display what Endeavor is capable of, because he was the long time running number 2 hero and is now, of course, the number 1. And in that glimpse, you got to see just a little piece of like what this motherfucker can do.
Right. He's a top dog now. Yeah,
I mean, you see, because he's fighting another fire user, and you get to see like this. Just the superiority. We all love Todoroki, who's just fire and ice, but I mean, Endeavor's the GOAT, man. I mean, like Todoroki has more potential, but he's not there yet. And you see that in what took them all but 15 seconds. And in the manga, I mean, I've seen it in there. So like, I'm already familiar with, what he can do and his limitations and all that kind of stuff. But to see it animated was just really cool. I think the saddest thing is that you never got to see a moment that I can recall anyways, where you had like a moderately healthy All Might and Endeavor, like maybe, fighting side by side in a situation, like putting differences aside just for a moment. It doesn't have to be like built up or anything, but it would have been so cool to like see like, a bunch of heroes fighting in a situation, back in the day or something. And then you get a glimpse of like All Might and Endeavor, like, not talking to each other. And then you see them both do some cool stuff same time. That would have been kind of cool.
Right. I mentioned to you at the bar after the movie, to where it's like, it's funny how All Might is almost like not in the movie at all, and not in the anime at all. You barely see him now, and everyone's just super okay with that. And I was like, man, this is probably what it would have been like if they got rid of Goku and went with Gohan a little bit stronger in Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
I think it would have worked. It might have been better.
Well, yeah, it would have been fantastic. But I will say this, the way that they implement All Might is so goddamn good, man. Like, they could just do flashbacks, but they take quotes from All Might constantly and place it in just like perfectly in the story, where like where it's just needed, where you need that like glimmer of hope or whatever. And they don't even take his most cliche lines like every time anyways. They just drop a little something from All Might. You hear in the English dub version, Chris Sabat, who voices All Might, you hear him come in and just that like deep, powerful voice. And there's no All Might there, but it gets you pumped up because like you feel all the energy from All Might's like Namu fight or his fight with All for One and whatever. It's great. It's great product placement.
It is, and they're very careful and they're very smart, because you don't want to take away from Deku. You don't want Midoriya to be shadowed by All Might, because you want Deku to be all that you see most of the time. All Might's done. He's out of there. He can be here and there, and he can be a nostalgia trip, or just someone that everyone loves that can come in. But you want Deku to be at the front of the line at all times.
And I had to look it up because like I'm kind of getting spacey on the podcast with all of my thoughts all over the place. But my favorite line from this movie that they took from All Might that he said previously during the series is and I hear it in Chris Sabat's voice even as I'm reading it now, is he's like, now for a lesson. You may have heard these words before, but I'll teach you what they really mean. And then he screams, his Go Beyond plus Ultra. The timing for this, guys, when you watch the movie, and Steven, you had to feel the same way. Like when they dropped that, like in like the proper placement. Like, bro, I just was like almost like excitement, energy tears. I don't know what the hell you would call it, but I was like, yes, like, oh.
Yeah, we got hyped.
Yeah, man. There's not too many animated series where I can describe having moments like this so consistently. You know, I'm not going to take shine away from anything that's, you know, like one of the greats, but I'm just saying, like, this show is something else, man.
Right. I mean, I knew it was a good idea to not like get the VOD and go to the movies and see it because I knew it was going to be good. I knew it was going to be just as good as Two Heroes.
Yeah, like they just like, can they make mistakes? I don't know. I don't feel that they've done it yet.
I mean, but I mean, you talk about something I didn't really care about, Bakugo. Just everything that he was saying, people were laughing, but then like the other half of the movie, it was like, all right, now you can't get this guy something else.
So let's talk about him for a second before we get into like, or do you want to do the general plot stuff and then kind of come back to Bakugo?
Nah, whatever you want. I ain't driving.
Fuck it. Let's go straight into Bakugo. In the manga as well as the animated series, there's not a lot of Bakugo, as I'm sure many of you have noticed. You know, they kind of pull the story back around to start introducing, you know, new characters to kind of have some more character development around Midoriya. And I think it's great because he's had wonderful development, for better or worse. I mean, it's all right there, and you know, they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're not milking anything. If they left Bakugo in the, you know, picture all the time, it would kind of be a lot, I guess. Yeah,
and it wouldn't be as good.
It wouldn't hit the same way.
Yeah.
And Bakugo, what we saw, because I mean, a lot of people like Bakugo. I like Bakugo. He used to, like, I think season 1, he was irritating just because it was hard to understand his personality. Like, it's like I kind of felt that you know, where they're at with him right now is kind of where they were trying to go with him ultimately. But it was so early during season 1 when there was, like, you know, nothing else for us to, you know, read or watch, that you're like, is this dude going to become a villain? Like, you know, why is he such a dick? You know, like, it could go a lot of different ways. And with Two Heroes, we saw him in a comedic light, which was good. And then in the, you know, following animated series season after that, you know, we saw that, you know, he now knows the secret of, you know, One for All, and has a better relationship with All Might. And like, I guess kind of with Deku, I mean, they had their fight where they hashed it out and things didn't change too much dynamically, but that's the thing, is everything changed during that moment. And they waited for this movie to show you how everything has changed. And then they didn't even hit you with all the changes out the gate. They just kind of let it unravel and show you, you know, through the movie, like, that these dudes respect one another. You know, they fuck with each other, man. They have each other's backs, even though, you know, to a degree they can't stand each other. It's got to be one of the healthiest, you know, like, rivalry situations I've ever seen, because there's so many weird ones, like Vegeta and Goku get so sloppy at times where it's like, okay, they're rivals, I guess. You know, now in Super it's a little bit cleaner, but it's still weird. And Naruto and Sasuke, you know, also a little bit weird. But this one, the time that they're spending for the conversations between each other, you know, you don't have Deku screaming out Sasuke, you know, Bakugo every episode, you know, or Vegeta, you know, being just full of pride constantly. Like, there's something else going on here. It's not like Bakugo has pride, but he backs it up, and you're watching him struggle and develop. And I don't know, not to say that Vegeta does, but just an example.
He does pretty much the same concept as Vegeta, to where he's like, you know, don't walk in front of me. Don't tell me what to do. He said that about 3 times, and then he threatens to kill everybody. He said it over and over.
Yeah.
And, but I think he's better when he's just in battle, not saying anything at all.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's definitely his happy place for sure.
That is. I mean, when they have him just laying on the floor being lazy, and then whenever someone says something to him, he screams and there's steam coming out of his ears. You know, that's like, all right, well, you know, that's just a little fan service. But when he's having dialogue with the kid that tricked him in this movie, who faked emergency, that was pretty cool. That's what I liked.
Katsuma.
No,
it's okay. It's okay.
But yeah, you know what I mean? That was interesting. That was different. He's not just calling people names and threatening to beat them up.
Well, and you know what else I like is in the manga as well as the show, they bring attention that, you know, one of Bakugo's weak points is, think of like a video game character that you're building and you only have so many traits, and Bakugo sucks for like charisma. It's probably the best way to put it. So, it's like you put a bunch of your skills into fighting, traits, but then there's going to be times where low charisma is going to severely limit your character. And that's one of his problems. We see that where he doesn't know how to, comfort, people in time of crisis and stuff like that. And I love that they show that he cares in his own way. He reminds me of like a younger Endeavor, because Endeavor's kind of a prick. I know they haven't showed him much on screen, but he means well. He has great intentions. He's actually a really awesome character. But surface level, you're like, Jesus Christ, dude, can you be more like All Might? So I think that they've done that perfectly, where you've got your All Might Endeavor situation, and now you've got your Deku Bakugo situation.
Bakugo, does he translate good to anime from the manga?
Oh yeah, if anything, he's a bit more hostile in the manga.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he swears more and just says more inappropriate things. Like they water him down a little bit in the series.
That's interesting.
Yeah, right. I figured it would be the other way around, and they were using him for comic relief. But nah, dude, he's a savage, even more so in the manga. It's funny as hell. But they're very close.
That's weird that you said that, because every time he spoke, people laughed.
Yeah,
But he's supposed to be the bona fide badass that kills people.
Well, I mean, sort of.
Well, he did kill someone. Or no, he didn't.
No, he not in this movie. He's still a hero. I mean, to your point, they had the big fight with but no, before the big fight with all for one.
Okay, all right.
In the normal series, the League of Villains had captured Bakugo at one point, and pretty much were like, "You're just like us." And that's when you got to see that, like, he's like, I might be as savage as you, but I'm a savage hero.
That was a great episode of when he took off.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. And that's when you got to finally see his true colors. And I think what was so important about that episode is, in the back of our minds, for most, watchers and readers, if you hadn't, read beyond that point, is you still kind of questioned his alliance, like, because he's so young, it could go any way.
That would have made for, and it still might, I don't know, I don't read. So like down the line, that could be like a great twist to where he does go on the opposition of Deku, and then you got both of those going.
I felt that way, but a more difficult pill to swallow would be as if they killed him. That would be way more difficult, because they haven't really killed too many people in the series. Like we saw, Night Eye in the series, and that was rough. But, I mean, I knew it was coming, and they spent, the season giving him some, establishment as a character. But They haven't really killed anybody that's been with you since, like, day one. I'm not, like, saying that they're going to do it to Bakugo, but I wouldn't be surprised if before this series comes to an end, as they're on their journey, or we're on the journey with them, discovering how Deku becomes the, world's greatest hero, since he does, that we're going to end up losing somebody really important. And I think it's going to be somebody from Class 1A, like, you know what I mean? Like, because who else could it be? I mean, if not like, All Might or somebody, but I think it would hurt more to see like somebody who has all the, like just think about the blow with Mirio.
Yeah.
But death.
You know what? I think that would be money, because this movie, they took 40 minutes to make everyone important. Everybody in there.
Oh,
They all got their shit in. So if somebody comes in there and whacks any of them, it's going to be money. That's going to be super interesting, especially Bakugo. If they happen to whack him off, man, I don't know. But I don't think they can afford to lose him either, because a lot of people like him.
Well, we'll see how the writing goes. But let's talk about what you just said. I think that's really, really important, is the balance in this movie. They're all the students, skipping around again, are on like, an island really far from everybody. They write it out, to where the situation is these kids are on an island that hasn't had any issues in over 30 years, like anything major at all. So it's pretty much supposed to be a safe haven. And of course, due to plot, it's not the safe haven they thought it would be. They're out there helping, cleaning up the beach, and, helping around town with miscellaneous chores, just getting some hands-on experience for the summer. It's the concept is actually really fun. I really enjoyed it. But when things get serious, any other animated movie, I swear to God, I feel like they would have used this opportunity to just highlight whatever the main fight was going to be slowly. So it would have been like all Deku. It would have, you know what I mean? Like all like Todoroki, all Bakugo. And bro, I'm so impressed how everybody got a lot of time to shine. I mean, the support characters, I thought they were going to kind of write them off and not do much for them, but they took the support characters, they introduced them, kind of like phase 1, we'll call it, where like they're all fighting and like they're focusing on getting civilians out of the way and that sort of stuff. But then they had some of those support characters that are definitely considered that way to come back and go head to head with the main villains.
Yeah, and it's not like they had like 5 minutes movie time. They were in the entire movie, and you knew who they were. You got to know them better, and then you got to watch them fight. And I thought that was just super smart. Whoever decided to do that, good on them.
Well, yeah, because I love the protagonist. Obviously, I'm a huge Midoriya fan, but I also love like other characters in that show. And I think what can be hard with some anime is when you have a favorite character that's not considered the main character and they never really get any feats at all, and or something that's just like so small that like nobody cares. Like Naruto was better than most anime, but also it'd be kind of like a one and done. They'd show somebody and this crazy ability that they learned, and then they would kind of walk away from it and they never come back. And then by the time you got to the Ninja War, like they tried to bring back some of that stuff, but it was like, go back to Naruto and his crazy transformation and whatever Sasuke's doing over here with the Susanoo and call it a day. Like that's all we cared about, at that point. But My Hero's different, man. It's just they do such a fantastic job, like on an episode basis. I mean, how many times, for instance, the season that just passed, the ending with Deku and him being able to use One for All at like 100% and looked like he was like some goddamn green leprechaun Super Saiyan. I don't even know what we were looking at. It was so freaking cool. But all of that stuff leading up to it, like there were very fair moments for everybody who was running through the building, who was fighting the Yakuza and trying to rescue the girl. Like it was amazing.
Right. I mean, people loved Lemon before, the ugliness happened, and then you got so attached to him. They spent like 3 episodes on him.
Yeah.
You forgot about Deku pretty much because you were watching him. You did. That's all you wanted to see is what he would do.
And that's great story writing. That's one of my biggest problems with Dragon Ball Z. I don't want to say Super because Super is trying to pull away from that, the BS that they used to do. It's because it's very problematic. Like if you go back and watch that stuff where it's like, oh, Goku's the only one who can save us. Please, Goku. And then he doesn't. And then he borrows energy from a bunch of people that just got their ass beat. And then that's the end of the movie every single time. Let me borrow your energy now that we're all almost dead. And they're like, okay. And he's like, yes. Now I can do it. Like what? Stupid.
Dragon Ball is always like 3 feet deep. It's an ocean of goodness, but it's just so easy to watch. I enjoy exactly what My Hero's doing.
Yeah, and I'm not even trying to bash Dragon Ball right now. I mean, we can. I've done it before, but that's not what I'm doing. I'm a fan. A lot of you guys are fans. I'm just saying that's kind of how it is. Let's take one of the most popular things because Dragon Ball is a series that works, but they just always act like we're stupid. Like it's like you guys wouldn't have to do too much to make it a little bit deeper. If you watch all the Dragon Ball movies, almost every single one ends that way. There's like freaking 15 of them.
Yeah, they did. I remember watching all of them through. The only time I ever moved for Dragon Ball is just when Master Roshi died. That's the best that I can remember.
Shit, I didn't. I just had this conversation the other day with somebody online. Like, what's so irritating about Dragon Ball is like you never feel like the object permanence, that the weight of death, because it's non-existent in that universe. And the only people that they kill off are people that they don't want to bring back because it would be problematic for them to write it into the story. Like Nappa, Raditz, all the Saiyans, Grandpa Gohan, Babidi's dad, Bibidi, stuff like that. Characters that could come back, King Cold, but they're just like, nah.
Yeah, we know what it is.
Like Namek, everybody, like the whole planet got destroyed, and they, brought that shit back.
I mean, and we're not being My Hero fanboys. I mean, in the cave, what's his name? Tokoyami, the Dark Bird. When he raged out, I didn't feel nothing.
I loved it. I really liked it. I didn't feel anything for what led to him flaring up, but the energy he had, the limelight that he got, the fact that they took an opportune moment to, because they had him in broad daylight, which is clearly going to severely weaken him because he uses Dark Shadow. But, situationally, they found a way to, get him into a cave and just kind of let him shine even.
And that would be my only nitpick. I would have had him not rage win, but I would have had him go over some other way, like, just something smart, something clever, something he could have slid in and got the victory.
Well, no, they don't want to do too much with him because I can't remember if they have gotten to it in the show yet, but in the manga, which is coming up soon, the current number 2 hero that you see, the guy with bird wings flying around all over the place,
Hawk. Yeah.
Hawk gets into ends up working and teaching him how to utilize Dark Shadow in better ways, and they're saving a lot of that stuff for down the road.
Oh yeah, that would have been perfect then.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's kind of like foreshadowing lightly, maybe. But I'm glad that they didn't spoil everything. I mean, for instance, like Deku has there's some really cool stuff they have for Deku in the chamber, and I honestly thought they were going to touch base on in this movie. By the time it ended, I'm really happy they didn't, because that just means we're going to get way better material later.
Well, real quick, when I saw Deku, he was flicking out those, what are they, like just pure force bullets?
Like air bullets?
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
Well, yeah, dude, Deku, just wait, man. He's got some surprises for you in the future, for sure. And also, you know what? I love 9. I loved 9, and I loved the Chimera guy. What was his name?
I think that was his name, Chimera.
No, it was Shojuru.
Bless you.
You're an idiot.
What was his name?
Shojuru. Pathetic.
But yeah, the wolf, bird, snake, super strong, fire breathing dude.
Well, yeah. I mean, so going into what Steven and I were saying, with everybody kind of getting an equal chance to shine, he was the perfect character to push them to their goddamn limits, man. Perfect. Like the way he just like kept getting unnecessarily strong. It was like Broly. Like they were like, okay, guys, we finally laid a punch on him. I think we actually hurt him. And then he just goes up like 10 more levels. Like, just kidding. I was joking in the theater. I was like, when you're playing in a video game and you finally beat the boss and then the music changes and his health goes all the way back up.
Yeah, he did that like 3 times. We called it out.
Yeah, but it was good. I mean, you felt the struggle. At no point did any one of those heroes individually, with the exception of maybe Todoroki for the final blow, do what they needed to do and feel like they were superior to another hero. Everybody mattered. Like Ida, for instance, felt just as important as Mineta.
Right. It's very important that you let the audience feel the struggle and the danger of what these guys go through, especially 9. 9 was OP, but they still got their hits in before the final battle. Not only that, they gave 9 a weakness that was understandable, and every time he got affected by it, you didn't know what was going to happen after that because he was so vulnerable.
Correct. Yeah, that was good writing.
Yeah, good writing.
You know what I want to see, though? I want to see where the hell he acquired that blue eyes white dragon that he was using to fucking beat everybody's ass. And this anime ain't shit for one reason, is I saw it. He's got like these water dragon powers in addition to a bunch of other stuff. And I joked, I'm like, dude, this looks just like blue eyes white dragon. And by the time he gets to the end of the movie, he freaking pulls out 3 blue eyes white dragons. There's 3 of them coming out of him.
All through the movie, Deku and Bakugo died like a zillion times from those.
Yeah.
It's like every time they started getting good, he just pulled those dragons out and they just rocked them.
You can't blame him, though. Them dragons that was rough, man.
It was cool. It was a lot more violent than the series is.
Yeah. Deku running around with a bunch of broken bones.
Oh, man, when they blasted him when he was getting up slowly and he was in mid-sentence and he just blasted him in the stomach.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, we're only 50 minutes in. What's going on here?
This is going to be that kind of a movie. But it was great, man. It was just so good. Like the excitement that you feel, the ability to, highlight every single character, make them useful, put them in situations where everybody was struggling. I mean, it was so fun. And like the end of it, the best part at the end is like you really feel like these kids have done everything that they can possibly do, like within reason and beyond, to overcome these obstacles, and it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because 1, we're running out of time, and 2, when these blue-eyed white dragons, they got him up in the air, and 9 is in his final form, and they're even verbally telling you that they need to think of something right now, or it's all over, it's done. They're banged up, they're bleeding out, and Deku says he has an idea, and Bakugo knows what he's talking about, and then they're reaching for each other. and they're like their fingertips are like smacking back and forth because they're trying to grab each other.
Yeah. And that moment just added to the seriousness and severity. Like, these dudes are so beat up they can't even, touch hands for this crazy idea that Deku has. So you felt it.
So go ahead and tell us what the idea was, because I didn't know it at first. They eased you into it.
Well, that Deku, basically, you know how he is. He thinks of, crazy things in order to, get the advantage in fights that, it's 50-50. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I love that he's a thinker and that they narrate that on screen. It reminds me a lot of like the old Spider-Man comics where, half of the talking is, him just doing it in his head, and it describes like situations that, making it a really awesome read, really awesome to watch, whatever. And they've done a great job with that for Deku. And this is one of those times where he's like, all right, check it out. Pretty much in his mind, he wanted to set it up like two heroes where, Deku is holding, this main power, and All Might has the embers of it, in the first movie. So together we were able to overcome this unbeatable force. So if I can do that with Bakugo, then maybe we can do this. And he risked it all to transfer his power to him.
The way he projected that is that once he gave it to Bakugo, whatever he had in the tank, he wasn't getting back, or he was just ready to die. It was one of those two things. Right.
And I think the ideology behind that is Deku has only had it for a couple of years now. All Might has had it for, a freaking lifetime. So my guess, just educated guess, is maybe the longer you have it, the longer that those powers remain. Because All Might could still even change to his muscle form. He just can only stay into it for a few moments, and he probably doesn't have very much power, but he can do it. And it's been a long time since he's transferred it. Deku, on the other hand, like, doesn't have a muscle form. Like, he just he just has it. So he probably, it makes sense that he maybe he would hold on to it, because even All Might was like, every time he would like go all out, like against like the Namu and other situational things, it seemed like he was speeding up the process for those embers going away. And Deku, transferred it, quote unquote, and then put everything he had, that was left into it afterwards.
Yeah. So they both come out of a crater, and they both have one for all, and they're both in like their what would you call it? Their next level lightning form. I don't even know what you would call it when Deku's hair gets all.
Dude, it's like it looks like a combination of like Super Saiyan, but in the eyes, it kind of looks like Naruto's Sage mode, where he also goes into like, that crazy orange mode as well.
Right, because their pupils were going all crazy too.
Yeah, but then at the same time, it doesn't, there's moments where it doesn't feel as Super Saiyan-y. It feels more like Killua's Godspeed form from Hunter x Hunter.
Right, yeah.
I mean, really, it is its own thing. We're just we're doing our best to make comparisons,
Right, so right. It did look cool. And when they did it, Deku's muscles did flex up. I did notice that, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, and man,
if I was doing the animation, I'd do the same thing.
And they had Bakugo, him and Deku side by side. And, in my mind, I wanted to nitpick and go, okay, well, Bakugo just got it, so how come he can do these things? But if you're really watching the fight and you're breaking it down like how I was trying to do in my head, it's like, okay, so Bakugo, we're thinking of Deku like when he first got the powers, had like no training in anything. He was just a kid who, dreamed in a notebook. Bakugo has tons of experience. And if you're actually paying attention to the fight, like Deku's, using shoot style and like all these things and really using mostly blunt force. I like that they went out of their way to show that this power enhanced Bakugo's abilities. So like he started off doing a little bit of that stuff, like basic fighting, just with more power. But then like it shows him like, what was that? Like he went like almost underground or something and took like his sweat and turned like he built like a goddamn like mini supernova. It was so fucking cool, man.
Yeah, that tornado tackle, I think he called it.
Shit,
he yelled it out. It was cool. Right, but in the end, when they both did that Detroit smash and incinerated the sky, the fucking up Nine's Darkstorm BS, whenever that was going around, I thought that was cool. But then after that, I seen that Bakugo's arm was trashed. He wasn't even moving it anymore after that.
No.
And I thought that makes sense, because even if he's watching Deku, even if Bakugo's been conditioned from all this time training, I'm glad that they didn't give him the power and he's just in the zone. He's just at Deku's level already. that they actually made sense to take his arm away.
Yeah.
I don't remember if Deku's arm was trash too, but that final battle, like we were talking about earlier, it didn't have rock music where you could get hype. It had calming music because this was potentially the last time Deku could use One for All. When he rocked him with his final smash, I don't know if that was a move, but that's what he yelled out. And Bakugo was keeping pace with him, all in this like mute, calming soundtrack. Man, it was an awesome touch.
Yeah, you know what it reminded me of, now that I'm thinking about it, is there's a lot of different Final Fantasy games that will because Final Fantasy is notorious for their music, and it's not all games. I can't even think of a perfect example right now, but they have a lot of games where you'll have a boss fight, like an end type of boss fight, where you are expecting that aggressive guitar music and stuff blowing up, and you don't get that. You get something that like just heightens the mood and the story, and it's just so good. And it's refreshing to see this in anime. It's not the first time that it's been done, but this might have been the best implementation of that I've ever
was
seen.
And when you hear it, the first thing that comes to my mind is loss and death, and I think that's what everyone was supposed to feel like. Something's about to end. That's what it was supposed to feel like. Luckily, plot came through towards the end, but man, it was just such a fun ride.
I'll give you that. Yeah, you definitely feel like this is it.
Yeah.
And you don't know how, you just know.
Yeah, so it's, man, I hope there's several more movies like this. Like, there's 15 Dragon Ball, there's 20 One Piece. Man, I hope they keep going on this because these are awesome.
And we didn't even talk about like the two kids that much in the movie. I really liked what the kids brought to the story. Like we mentioned them briefly, but for Katsuma and Mahoro, I think was the sister's name. I really enjoyed them. Like the interaction that they had, with just being kids playing around, the sister being kind of a jerk and not really caring for heroes in general and pushing their buttons, using her little what would you call that? Like what like a mirage, like a
projection.
Yeah, my like brain's escaping. Must be tired, but I love that. Slightly off subject, that she creates this like huge fake monster to screw with the guys.
Yeah.
And Bakugo like rushes in because he's so thirsty to finally have a villain to fight because he's tired of sitting on his ass, and immediately just like lets the monster go to hit him. It's the image just goes right through him and around him, and she's like, "You weren't scared of my monster?" He's like, "What do you think? I'm stupid? There's no shadow on here. Come on, kid." But that shows that like from a tactician perspective in battle, that dude knows his shit,
right?
Because even Deku was like, "Oh well, I'll be like,
right. It's a monster. I'll save you."
And that's usually Deku that has like that, extra thought process, and Bakugo rushes in. But no, that dude knows his shit. You get so much respect for this guy, but that was good. But going back to my main point, the interactions specifically, with the boy that's getting chased by the villains and everything, man, like the way he's talking with Deku just puts you in your feelings. Cause it's, it's what All Might was to Deku.
Exactly. And I like that. I like the flashbacks of Deku looking at the computer because that was one of the most powerful moments in like 2 seasons. The first 2 seasons, him looking at that computer and crying, saying, "If I can do that someday."
Yeah. They brought it back full circle. They found a way to, highlight All Might. But the most important thing about this movie is when it comes to Deku, you really feel like the baton is finally being passed from All Might to Deku. And for the Class 1A, you really feel like this is a maturity factor for them. At least like, Bakugo and Deku specifically, like you feel like after this movie, like they've become men, not just based on their powers, but their ability to, put their differences aside, to work together as teammates and just make it work. Like it was all about like growth. It was such a big jump.
And they did it so smart. Again, we're giving a lot of props to how this was written. They lost their first encounter. When the group split up, they had a plan. They got rocked.
Yeah.
And then this time they came back. They tried some stuff different. They learned from that last battle. And they came through.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The whole there was no detail that was skipped. They were like, okay, so here we are. We're regrouping. Here's the plan. Deku led the basic idea behind the plan, and then we got to see how each group that came together, through Ida, by the way, who like kind of did the spit shine on it, made it better, and then we watched the groups like go down and kind of make each objective their own based on their abilities and who they were working with. Like they had so much fun with this, dude. Imagine being in the storyboard room, like, okay, so we got a chick that she's invisible. We got Froppy in here, freaking talk, frog chick, tongue, poison abilities. Like, how do we make this work? How do we make this seem like, we got to take somebody who is otherwise just a basic ass support character that you would never expect to, go ham. How do we do it? And they just did it. Like they had like 20 people in the room just throwing around ideas for weeks.
Right.
Like,
they made pretty much every scene counted.
Yeah, they really did.
Every movie needs to learn from that. And I don't know if we mentioned it, that 9 needed the little boy for his end goal, which is steal his quirk.
I mean, whatever. If they're listening to us, they've seen the movie. But yes, that's exactly what Steven said. I mean, that's the essential plot. 9 has enhanced abilities where he can do what All for One can do. So it's basically like mini All for One. And there's limitations to that. His name's 9 because he can only hold on to 9 abilities at one time. But for whatever reason, this shit is breaking down his body. He's dying. He wants to build this new world, and he can't because he's dying because of like the modifications he did to his body. The only thing that's going to fix that is getting the cell activation quirk, which allows for like super healing and stuff like that. They're a little vague, but essentially it was trying to get something that's like a watered down version of Wolverine's healing factor.
Right. Cell restoration. He's a nurse. Big deal.
Yeah. But if you put it in somebody powerful who can hold multiple quirks, I mean, now you're talking some serious shit here, if somebody's like on their deathbed. So the plot, like that alone, I really enjoyed. I liked it.
Yeah. They gave you everything. They made you sad. They made you happy. Todoroki being hugged by Endeavor. That was awesome.
Well, if you were a manga reader, it wouldn't surprise you.
But just a look he gave him. That was a good moment.
That's not what surprised me. What surprised me is they, in the middle of the fight, because Todoroki ends up taking the W over the Chimera dude finally, is, they go back to a conversation that he has with Endeavor, and, he accepts his father's teaching, which is a really big moment to see on screen. It wasn't just like internal strife, but like he's like, okay, Dad, I need what you showed me. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be stubborn. He's like, but I'm going to do what you showed me. I'm going to do it in my own way and take it to this new level. And it was just so good. It was so good. It would have been fake if he just like did it, but you could like, even as he's trying to implement it for the first time, like you see him struggling and being unsure about it, but like, he knew that was his last shot. He could not falter. So he stuck with it all the way to the end, and the shit worked out.
And he had to mention that it's advice he got from his dad to make it mean that much more.
God, this movie gets a 10 for me if I had to give it a rating. 10 easy.
It's pretty good. It is.
Yeah, I can't complain. I loved everything. Everything.
Yeah, there's not a lot to hate. There's not even any nitpicking you can do, and that's what everybody out there making anime series, movies, manga should go for.
Yeah, and me, like I try to pull at least like one or two things, even for stuff that I like, just to be like, okay, I'm going to mention this thing that could have been better or whatever. But no, even the details for the kids, where they gave them these like big goofy like sunflower hats, which didn't seem like it made a lot of sense at the time, but the way that the shots are put together when things are blowing up and it's windy, the hats indirectly add to like emotion. I don't know if you caught that or felt that, Steven.
Nah, I don't remember it.
So, well, that's the type of stuff you see in animated movies like Your Name. Like they do little subtle things to just add emphasis without using words. They might use like water or, something like that, like just to display emotion lightly. And with the hats, I think that's exactly what they were going for. It's one of those things you're staring at it, but without it on screen, it would have taken something away.
Oh yeah, I'm always a fan of detail. I think that's important. Even if nobody sees it, subconsciously they see it.
These are facts, but we're pretty much at time.
We did 50 minutes. What the fuck?
We enjoyed the movie. What can we say? It happens sometimes.
Yeah, you're right.
I got my work cut out for me for editing. Shit. So, all right. Well, anything you want to add before we head out of here, buddy?
No, I'm good. This was a great show.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed the subject matter material in this show. It was a lot of fun. So, all right, guys, thank you for hanging out. If you have some time, feel free in the comment section of whatever media network you follow us on to post your thoughts. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Would you go see this movie again? What do you think is going to the third movie could be about? I mean, personally, I'm not going to have any projections because I'm far enough in the manga where I'm more excited about next season before we even get that far for a third movie. That's just me. Make sure you head over to the Patreon account and become a patron. It's like Sam's Club. You can't just go into Sam's Club and buy stuff, man. I mean, like, you feel bad. It feels good when you go in there and you're a member, and that's what they have to call you.
Yeah, you got to become a patron. Like, as soon as you hear this, just make the jump. We're gonna take care of you. Also, I'm at Facebook a lot more than anywhere else, and there's a lot of people on there. I'm having trouble keeping up with all the comments right now, but drop by and say something. Say hi. We always got something to talk about there.
We like to argue too.
I love to argue.
So if you want to argue, if you're just having a bad day and you want to like throw around anime facts and maybe no logic, maybe you just want to be mad, let's fight. We can do that.
Yeah, let's go. We can both be right and just argue all night. Let's go. Let's get it.
All right, I'll treat you like the wife I never had.
All
right, guys.
You're so alone. Let's go.
Have a good night.
Later, guys.